Hello everyone, welcome to the QuesterMage, a Mage's Quest to talk about games. In today's video I want to talk about the HORI Nintendo Switch SplitPad Pro and the USB attachment coming to Nintendo Switch. Please note that this is not intended to be a review of the controller itself. I tried to collect relevant information on the machines, digest user feedback while adding my own observations and or opinions, condensing these into an informational video which I hope is helpful and or enjoyable. We have a few videos talking about games, mostly arcade and retro on the channel. If you'd like to watch these then please take a look. If you like our content and want to help the channel grow, please click that like, subscribe and notification bell for more of our content in the future. If you're one of the 50 plus subscribers on the channel so far, thank you very much. It's literally the only way this channel can grow. For this video I'll be talking about the SplitPad Pro and the new USB attachment which will be sold as a set. Apparently the USB attachment will also be sold separately. Since the original launch of the controller we have seen its popularity grow by quite a bit. We have seen the new SplitPad Pro and various themes of this. We have the Mega Man version, the Pokemon version, Sonic version, etc. The well-received controller always had a caveat attached to it, which was the users could only use it in handheld mode. Until now. So starting off with what we know, this controller has been developed by HORI and is officially licensed by Nintendo. The launch date will be on the 8th of April 2022, and the platforms it will be compatible with will be the Nintendo Switch, Windows and Android. In this newest edition of the HORI SplitPad Pro line, this controller boasts the following: full-sized analog sticks, a precision D-pad, large shoulder buttons, assignable rear buttons, turbo functions. These can be adjusted to 3 settings, 5 times a second, 10 times a second, and 20 times a second. Awesome for games like Animal Crossing when shaking trees or picking up items off the floor. Also, the assign button will only assign buttons from the front of that half's controller to the back button. A headset jack for audio and voice chat functionality, mic mute and volume plus and minus buttons, works for both handheld and TV mode, and one attachment set included. If you already own a SplitPad Pro, you'll know that this is only used in handheld mode only. This attachment will also allow the controller to be used in docked mode via USB. You attach your SplitPad Pro to the attachment set and connect the USB to the Nintendo Switch dock, your computer or an Android device. Other variants of the SplitPad Pro can also be used with this dedicated attachment. The controller will be available in 3 different colors, which I'll show you on screen now. This controller will not include motion controls, HD rumble, NFC, or the IR camera. The box will contain the attachment set and the SplitPad Pro. Moving on to what we don't know, tabletop mode compatibility. The company blurb keeps mentioning the use of the SplitPad Pro as a wired controller when affixed to the attachment set in TV mode. No mention if this will work in tabletop mode. One of the best features of the Nintendo Switch itself is that you can, well, switch between TV, handheld and tabletop mode. It would be nice to know if this controller is compatible with all of the console's mode. It probably is with a USB-C to A adapter, but we'll just have to wait and see because being a part of this segment, we don't know. Improved grip on the analog sticks. On the original HORI SplitPad Pro, the analog sticks were made out of plastic and it was coloured in red. On the picture here on screen you can see that there are 2 different colours on the analog sticks. I don't know if the colour on top means there's a new type of grip that's been added to the analog sticks itself, or if it's just to contrast this controller with the original one. Now moving on to any requests that I might have, Bluetooth pairing. This is definitely something that I would want added in a future SplitPad Pro. The controller is good and I really like it, but being taller, wider and deeper than the Joy-Con, whilst also being wired, keeps it from being the Joy-Con replacements. And realistically this is probably why it doesn't have Bluetooth attached to it, but still I think this would improve the controllers. Switch button remapping. Another HORI Switch accessory I have without native switch button mapping. If you want to remap your buttons for a specific game, you cannot do that. You can assign the buttons to the back buttons, but that's it. Why not have button mapping enabled for this officially licensed Nintendo controller? I have a whole video talking about this in regards to the HORI Rap 5 arcade stick. Gyro controls. I really like gyro controls, especially in games like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. As this controller doesn't have gyro, aiming the bow is not as easy in the game. Also, using powers like magnetic telekinesis becomes a little bit more difficult. In my view, this controller would be better if this feature was included. Rumble. I have to say I did miss the rumble feature when playing games. It doesn't have to be HD rumble, normal rumble would be fine, as long as we have some form of rumble. Side note, I really like HD rumble, it's one of my favourite features on the Nintendo Switch. A controller stand. Not the easiest controllers to keep on a table or in a bag. Essentially, size-wise, the SplitPad Pro is a Pro controller split in half. When disconnecting them from the Nintendo Switch, they just lay on the table like a broken controller. Why not include a simple controller stand, even if it's made of plastic or a 3D printed one? It would be nice to stand and even display the controllers when they are not being used. When I'm not using this controller, I just put it back into its box. Now overall, the original version of this controller is good and very comfortable. Users seem generally happy with it, and so am I. I have the original controller, and this new package seems to be the same controller, just with a new look and including the USB attachment. Lastly, I really like the Joy-Con, but comfort is definitely the main takeaway from this controller in comparison. If the Joy-Con controllers are uncomfortable in handheld mode for you, this is definitely a big step up. I always thought it was a shame that the controller was limited to handheld mode, so I will be looking forward to buying the USB attachment to try it out. So what do you think of the HORI Nintendo Switch Pad Pro and the attachment coming to Nintendo Switch? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? How would you change it? Please leave your impression down in the comments section. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help out the channel, please click that like, subscribe and notification bell for more of our content in the future. And until then, thanks again.